But I'd like to start by welcoming Michael to the stage. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you all for joining us this afternoon's session. What I am going to attempt to do here is this rather highfalutin title of the business of science of content. And really what it is, in this kind of elaborate headline too, of reinventing business journalism, or how we're disrupting traditional media. Really what that distills down to is we're like everyone else trying to figure out just what is a new sustainable model of ad-supported journalism in a digital era. And this is what we've done, and to date it's been working very well. That's why they've asked us to come today and share the Forbes story. So really, this is a bit of a truncated version or abbreviated version of a longer presentation, but in light of the time constraints, wanted to jump right into the middle of it, which basically our platform is based on a unique, scalable, and efficient model, content creation model that relies on a contributor network. We have a distributed authorship, meaning we go out and curate or find professionals on specific subjects in as many different areas as we can. They are publishing from around the world onto the same platform. They have an authentic voice in that they're publishing in their voice and their expertise, but under one unifying brand, which is Forbes. It's a self-publishing platform in that we provide them all the tool set they need to publish directly onto our site. There's no editorial middle section there. It goes directly onto the site. And then finally, an easy-to-use tool set. And this is key. If you're trying to build a contributor network, there are three components that we've found have worked tremendously well and have enabled us to build over a 1,000-person network in a few short years. And its easy-to-use tool set is number one, meaning you have to give them the technology tools to publish to the site that are, don't require them to understand HTML or any other technology, but let them focus on the journalism. Secondly, you want to create a feedback loop of data that allows them to measure themselves and the success they're having, both by the number of people who are reading their articles, as well as sharing them across the social sphere, and then a complete tool set that we have of analytical stats dash for them that allows them to compare how they're doing. And then finally, you want an incentive model in there. And the incentive model can take different aspects here. And one way is a large percentage of our contributors are really there about building their own personal brand, building their brand within their profession, within the area of expertise that they have, and getting themselves known around the world as an expert on that subject, and building a community for themselves and their following. The second model that we have is a compensation model that pays contributors. There's a minimum commitment to the number of posts they have to make during the course of a month. We pay them on a 1x for the initial unique visitor to their article, and then we pay them 20x on any repeat visit by that same person in the course of a month, and then it's reset each month. Now, under that compensation model, which is really a freelance journalism model of contributors here, we have a number of contributors who are making more than $100,000, and the average is around $35,000. So it is a pay model for a good percentage of our contributors. Now, so why did we do all this? Why did we make these changes? And it was largely just driven by, obviously, the old model was no longer sustainable in terms of the price and the cost of creating professional content and the movement towards social. And really, again, we asked ourselves the question, what is a new sustainable model in a world where anyone can publish at any time without trucks, without planes, without satellites, and can create their own brand on the internet? What this shows here is the old workflow that used to happen and the lack of data analysis. Basically, a writer, reporter would be given an assignment from the assignment desk, and moving from left to right there, it goes through a series of processes before and since we're in Rome, we say the Pope, maybe the editor-in-chief, magazine makes a determination as to what the consumer is going to see. So very much a command and control and a linear process there of repeat edits back and forth. And then it finally gets to the consumer. And in this model, there is very little data feedback there or data flow coming back from the consumer other than maybe number of subscribers. So the quote below from George Anders, who's an ex-Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg journalist, veteran freelancer, and now a Forbes contributor, he says, "The old-style journalism is a priesthood business. The folks who dwell inside the temple privately pick their own methods and doctrine, and then thunder forth in ways that assume passive acceptance and paying participation from the masses. It's a nice act if you can pull it off, but clearly the old journalism has not been pulling it off for the past 15 years. And clearly Forbes understood this as well. So we created a new model, the new newsroom for the digital era, and we obviously have to work on making this chart a little simpler to understand. But if you think of it as you've got the contributors over there on the left, and the contributor really can publish directly right into that area to the consumer on the platform and directly onto the platform without that whole linear step of going back and forth on editing. The only edit that takes place is under that vertical product editors. And where they're really doing their editing is editing by finding the right contributors. So we say we edit the talent, not the content. And meaning that we do find the best and the professional contributors that we can find, and then give them the same tool set that our own editors and our staff members have to publish directly onto our site. So a rather radical leap from the old model there. In the middle area there, you see the content production and optimization going on. And these, we have the vertical producers, meaning in each vertical, whether it's the business vertical, the investing vertical, lifestyle vertical, we have producers who are optimizing the content under search SEO. And then we also have social editors who are optimizing it under social media and making sure it gets out as broadly as it can. Then we also have audience development as well, which are oftentimes deals and placement deals, whether with LinkedIn, Facebook, and other sites that are interested in our content and provide a feedback loop directly back to us. Down below where you see tech development, that is the key to what we are doing here. We have a technology platform that is homegrown and built in-house, and it's entirely what the contributors publish directly onto and where all of the stats and data come from. It has about 7 different modules to it in the tech stack that we have, and the most important one in terms of feeding the new journalism, as we see, is the data analysis that occurs from how the consumers are interacting with the information, how people are sharing it across the social sphere, and how we're creating communities around specific contributors themselves. So that data analysis really feeds back into the contributor and tells them, how am I doing, and gives them real-time stats on what's going on. And it also feeds back for a payment system, so it keeps their stats there. One quick thing, as a tech company, we are constantly creating new products. My guys in the tech office give me this whenever I travel so I can keep count of what's happening on the site at any time in real time. And it says for the month of September, we're currently at 43 million uniques and about 253 million page views. So that's a real time. It'll change here in a moment or two. So very much technology-led, data-driven newsroom at this point. Also introduced with this new model was a new kind of ad product we call non-disruptive advertising for the social era. Now this was created back in 2010, long before the industry term native advertising came up. And it's interesting, what our brand voice attempts to do is to give marketers the same opportunity to be part of the conversation that is going on with or without them. And in this case with SAP, we clearly mark that it's SAP voice. It's a marketer talking to you. There's a link there that allows you to find more information on what this is. But the radical part of it is that it's the same exact tool set that contributors and Forbes journalists have. They do pay for the license to the publishing tools, and that allows them, again, to be part of the conversation. Interestingly, too, our brand voice product had tremendous interest right off the bat, but was a very slow build as marketers were trying to figure out how to effectively become part of the conversation or create their own content. It wasn't until the term native advertising became popular just a year and a half ago that suddenly there was an onslaught of people asking us, hey, explain what this is, how it works. And we now have about 20 ad voice or brand voice partners working with Forbes. So the way we lay this information out for consumers is on the Forbes website. You see the top of the website are curated stories, meaning this is somewhat of the old style, and that our editors at Forbes pick what they consider stories that you need to read coming to Forbes. The next level, which scrolling down, is the most popular. This is an algorithmically generated data set that is driven by what we call our velocity engine, which we had produced, which measures shares, likes, up into the social sphere, as well as clicks and read and how many pages they've read. So it's driven on a number of different measurements and creates this most popular module. On the right there is what's going into the social sphere and what's being shared most. And as you drag the cursor across Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, it changes, and each set will tell you what story is trending there as well. Interestingly enough, brand voice partners, the ones who do it well and write genuine and good editorial in there as part of the conversation, they very often find themselves in the most popular module there, that their stories are competing with everyone else's story on the website. Then there's the individual agenda, meaning this is kind of my Forbes, where you can create your dashboard, which can follow specific contributors, can follow specific companies, or can follow even brand voice partners on the site. The follow bar on the bottom is a reader of Forbes, user of Forbes site, can set who they want to follow across on a daily basis, and they'll get pushed emails, and also they'll be given priority on their data set that they'll see. And then finally, underneath that, you get to the marketer's agenda, which is our brand voice, as I said. And you'll note it's presented exactly like all other content on the site. It's just clearly marked up there. This is NetApp voice. Again, has an explanation up top of what it is, but it's presented exactly in the stream of content as anyone else. So basically what we've done is create a scalable model of content, and it's working well. We collect it differently, as we said there, through a network. We produce it differently through that new model of the newsroom. We distribute it differently using networks within networks, basically contributors who have their followers and our readers who we optimize in terms of going into the social stream. We present it differently in terms of the way we've laid out, curated, algorithmic, and the other steps I mentioned there. And we staff it differently. We obviously have a considerably smaller internal staff right now and a fantastically larger external staff at this point on a paid model for content. And we pay for it differently. So the big question always is, what have we done? And we're saying, well, this is journalism going social. It allows us to basically amplify everything that we're doing across the internet, allowing multiple voices to come in and contribute to the conversation. And if you measure it in straight measurements, year-over-year growth, since we launched fully in 2010, we've gone from about 14 million uniques monthly to 49 million monthly. That's on Omniture, the Google count. On ComScore, which is the most common American measure there, ComScore goes from about 12 million to 25 million during that same term. So the question, is it working? We'd say, yes, it is. In respect of time, this is basically just a timeline of creating this new newsroom. And Forbes bought a startup company in May of 2010, which was set us on this new course of how we're going to create content. So rather than eat into Vittorio's time, I will hand it over to him and take any questions following Vittorio's presentation. So thank you.